And really, I believe that is really working hard. And I must say, school is just around the corner, and this is where the February is coming in, because very soon the learners will be able to returning back to school. But I must say, if you really observe what is happening, some of the learners, remember recently the PLE results were released, and now we are seeing our learners, because really one of the districts that really least performed is from West Nile, and this is Kokoliriko. I don't know how it is there, but now we are seeing a 16-year-old, that is a pupil who really sat these exams that side of Wakiso, committing suicide. And according to information we are getting from Bedix, this learner actually was suffering from depression, and the learner identified as, that is Abdurrahim Rusiba, a resident of Chite in the Siza Wakiso district, set himself ablaze using petrol, and he actually locked himself in the house. And this was actually due to depression. And I believe, just like him, so many other learners out there may also be getting through the same situation. And that is why definitely it is always important for us to really also check out our learners, because irrespective of how they perform, I have a feeling there is nobody that really wants to fail. And the learner actually set himself ablaze, and this was after efforts by the locals to try to save him, but which was in vain, and he was rushed to Chirudu Hospital, where he passed on from. And information from doctors say that he was actually really suffering from depression. I don't know what this really means to the learners, and very soon we are going to see maybe similar scenarios, because right now they are going through a lot. Some parents also may be contributing to this. What do you think really, how can these learners who have not made it, because I thought from the government indicates that 88,000 learners actually we are under the undergraded category, and meaning they cannot actually continue to go on with education in the next level. What does this really mean to the learners? How can we help these ones who have really failed?
Thank you very much. First, it goes back to the parents. You know, at times as a parent, you may give your child a high expectations after or before sitting the PLE or any other exams. You give the child a limit or a date, like something. If you don't get either first grade or second grade, you may not be part of the family, or that will mark the end of you. And probably when the child goes on to fail or not to perform to the expectations, this is where you see those frustrations coming in. And as parents, at times we need to understand, it doesn't mean that someone is dull or is not having the knowledge, but no exam is always exams. In simple terms, it is called a test, and all know what test is about. They are trying you, either you fail or you pass, and that's one thing which is causing all these things. And depressions in primary children, it used to be like a history when you hear that someone in maybe primary level has committed a suicide because of this and that, and all these things are coming. Mostly it is because of the parents. I cannot expect a child who has performed maybe poorly or badly in examination to go and commit suicide because of the result. No. For them, they're ready even to go for a second opportunity. As being a child, you are always ready, and you know how tough it is. By the way, so when I was still growing up, my parents used to tell me the toughest exam at any level is primary 7, because you have never done any national exam, and that is still your first time. When you pass, you have to feel proud of it, and even if you failed, it means you have failed the first one. Probably in the next sitting, you'll perform well. So as parents, let's also learn how to talk to our children so that they can perform to the expectations. Maybe one last thing, we talked about Madiokola being one of the least performing. And out of all the districts in the country, if you're seeing that is a West Nile district also being ranked among the worst district, yes, yet you are trying to upgrade the region up to some level. What does it mean? I remember having an interaction with someone who said most of the schools which are performing well from this side of Central, the learners are from this side. What is that special thing that they're doing? And also the teachers who are teaching them, most of them are from Western sub-region or Western region. Look at their names. Find there, this one from Alur, this from our own land of Ulubara, the Mahdis. What is that special attachment or considerations being given to those teachers and learners to make them perform? One thing, it is the motivation. Teachers here at most levels say they are not motivated to that level that we expect, and that is one thing which is making us not to perform. And why are they not motivated? Most of the times it is with the parents or the locals. We don't want to give some extra money to sustain our teachers. These are some of the few things whereby if you are to perform to some level, it will automatically raise our started to someone. Thank
and
you.
according to information we are seeing, the deceased actually committed suicide because he did not score the grade 4 that he expected. But really, is grade 4 the only maybe pass rate that we know? And really, is it the only thing that somebody can secure to really understand that they passed? Because really, somebody is committing the suicide just because he or she did not score grade 4, and which could which could actually be a result of maybe a gap somewhere. But really, somebody committing, is it worth for somebody to commit their life, to take their lives over just results?
That thing has two angles. I said it is the parents and it is the schools. You know, there are some schools whereby the moment you go there, someone will be sure out of 4, I'll have to score 4. The moment you jump into 5, it means you have totally failed, and that is the pressure that comes from the parents. Those schools, how much are they paying? They're paying big amount of money. The school fees alone can even be more than some of our secondary schools, and that's why we are not performing to the expectations, and we are seeing that is the level of suicide, and those things are happening. So we should learn how to give opportunity to our parents, to our children, so that things can go accordingly.
Yes, that is it, because really I believe it is not only about the results that we are talking about. Just like any other person can really make it, because education, which to me is something that we really have to work towards and really achieve. But really, when somebody is really committing suicide just because he or she did not score a grade 4, then definitely that is quite alarming, because that definitely will also really impact negatively on their lives, because you cannot just take up your life because of the good results. I have a song that usually I love listening to, that it is not only about the good results. There are people with the good results, but still nowhere. And then there are these bad ones. But that is why people need to embrace, that is the technical schools, because you may be going through the good results, go through the different levels of education, but at the end of the day, somebody who just stops at P7 and then branches off, it is actually high time where he gets skilled. And that is why I must tell you, skilling is something that we need to work towards, and really ensuring also these people get the necessary support, maybe in terms of getting the equipment or the funding to start up life with. And then definitely we should be able to solely see, because somebody was really asking the fate of these 88,000 learners. Where next will they go? Because most of these are actually past now the primary school age going, because this is a 16-year-old. By 16 years, we expect to be in senior 3 or senior 4 perhaps, at least. But then somebody is still in senior 6. I remember COVID also had some negative impact on them here and there. And just like that, really, how can we start mentoring our parents, and how can we tell them that it is not only about the secondary education we're talking about, but these learners could actually emulate, also embrace and attend to these technical schools where they could get skills from which they could earn their livings for the rest of their lives.
Maybe, Farish, before answering that question I've posed about that is going to the technical schools, again, a question I have, how many of our schools do they have the counselors? Do they really give the career guidance to the learners? Like, you know, those are not yet mature people, but at least they have a brain to think. Now, how many counselors do we have at our local schools? Here, if I may ask, you have been aware, you have been moving to the schools here and there. Are they there? We have the female mentors, the ladies who always give guidance to the girls. And also we have the matrons who also, and the matrons and the patrons, they call them senior women teachers and senior male teachers. So these are the people who are supposed to give guidance to the learners, like maybe if you fail in your exam or if you succeed, which route can you follow? What can you do after primary level? So these are some of the things, and highly I believe some of these, the so-called female senior women teacher and the senior male teachers, right now they are not there at the primary level. And that is one thing which is causing all these traumas. And parents, at times, let's learn to also guide our children. Before someone going to sit in for a primary living examination or any level of exam, be it even P1 or P2, do you give enough guide to the child that, you know, after completing the exam, you have to do this, you have to do that. Otherwise, these things may not be according to plans. But also getting back to the question you posed about that is not necessarily going to secondary education. The government is also trying its best. They're trying to bring, that is the policy of technical skills right now. And of recent, we saw the FDC. They're trying to And that is advise the government, they are proposing to the government that why can't they also introduce skilling, that is hands-on skills among the primary curriculum, so that by the time someone is completing primary level, if you fail, that is to attain the grade you want, you will be in your mind that already I have a skill maybe in tailoring, or I have a skills as being a mechanics, or any other skill. So that one will give someone the courage, because after completing primary level, you know, you may lose the morale.
Yes,
that now, how can I again start going to technical schools? And some of them also, they have their own restrictions.
The stereotype about technical schools has always been there. For those who are going to technical schools, these were people who are presumed to be failures. But just like this, I don't know, nowadays, there's at least the mindset is changing. Some parents who understand and really know the employment rate of this country know that the way to go is also through emulating these technical skills. That is why you find most of them at least are branching off some of their children into these technical schools, irrespective of the grades that maybe they score at different levels. But I must tell you, really, issues about technical schools have really been a great challenge, because people who are going to these technical schools are presumed to be those ones who have failed. I don't know why that the case is. Remember, we have so many technical schools here. Somebody may be asking, which technical schools do we have in Western? We have quite many skills centers, even government and private. Many doing so many things, where children actually can get skills, that is in terms of mechanics, where they teach them driving, where they teach them tailoring, where they teach them so many other hands-on skills, electrical installations. All these are there to skill these young people. And actually, these youth who come out from these schools come out as qualified, and then they start hustling rather than being there doing nothing. In most cases, they come out and really find something to do for themselves. You know, but all in all, the pressure, I believe, where people must be committing suicide, more so the learners, is coming back from the parents. And because we also did see experts yesterday warning the parents against pressurizing the children in terms of results, because they know the devastating impact of this in terms of the children's emotions, in terms of their psychological effects, which is really very, very much bad, because it impacts greatly onto the lives of these children. Because if you are as a parent and you're not empowering the child, then definitely it will be very bad. Because you know, yesterday I was able to interact with my neighbor's daughter. I asked her how many grades did she score, and she was like, she got 26. And to me, she was saying she has failed. But I knew if I commented negatively, then definitely that would be very bad. I told her, you have passed, you tried, you are very good, you have to join secondary. Because with 26, if you don't get any F9, then definitely you have passed. That is third grade, you will be able to go to the next level. But I believe just not so many people out there may be like me. Because you tell somebody, the person tells you that he or she has got 26 grades, then definitely you will also really put them on pressure. You start condemning them here and there. But for now, really, we are running for a short commercial break piece. When we return back, we still have lots more to discuss on ranging on issues ranging from economy, politics, because really politics is playing its part, I must say. We are seeing so many people gathering here. In other places, people are already fronting names. But with that, really, we are running for a short commercial break. And when we return back, we shall be able to give you what is happening. Thank you. Welcome back from that short commercial break, and we are still continuing with the Kokoliriko live show on Western TV. My name is Farish Majid, and I'm together with Peace Ochaki, a journalist with us here, and we are still discussing on issues ranging from that is the region to the national scene here and there, and definitely you too can also be part of the show by using our various feedback generating platforms. For those of you accessing us via YouTube, you can use the YouTube comment section and also drop it there, and we shall be able to read it very widely. So I think for those of you also on Facebook, you can as well use the Facebook generating that is platform for those of you to also share your feedbacks. This is under the comment section of Facebook. Definitely we shall be able to also really share it with you there. And not forgetting those of you who are also catching us on the other various platforms, feel free to also share your views with us, and definitely we shall be in place to also share with the rest of the viewers. And now before going to the break, we are discussing issues of, that is the results of really impacting greatly on the learners, where we have seen some learners, really a learner from Wakiso who took his life over results for failing to get a grade 4. I don't know where the pressure comes in, but I know in most cases these pressures usually come because of peer pressure. Really, if you know, community also greatly also at times impacts on this, because somebody expects to get aggregate 4, and once they do not get the aggregate, maybe they get 4 or they get 6. society very much really runs so fast to condemn them, and in most cases they laugh at them. So people may not be able to really want to take the same, because at least me, when I was here, I was able to really know some of the learners who promised themselves that they would get a grade 4, but when they did not get a grade 4, what really followed is what we know, and that is maybe what resulted into the same scenario. So I think just like what happened, we should always really ensure that we guide the learners, we tell them what exactly to do, and we protect them from certain scenarios that may have devastating impacts on them, and that definitely will also really help them in terms of that is building their strong relations, because emotions definitely is something that we need to very much mind of, because once you get depressed, then definitely you would be able to want to take your life away from that. But away from that piece, I must tell you, politics is taking its place. And remember, recently we did lose, that is the former woman of parliament for Dokolo, the Honorable, the late Cecilia Ogwal. And now the family is fronting the daughter to take over this position here. I don't know what that means in your opinion, because even the electoral commission has already declared, but so many people have already shown interest. Even this is not the first time where we did see before somebody is actually buried, people already showing interest, people already fronting one another. You really saw what happens during the by-elections. I don't know what trend we are taking in our by-elections, where when somebody dies, we have to really front a family member. What does this mean to the politics of this country when it comes to issues of by-elections?
Thank you. I may say it is a good one, because the family member may be knowing which steps the mother or the daughter or the uncle was taking, and we always say and hear from them, they will tell you, I still have incomplete business in the parliament, so I was supposed to first finish up the business, and the family member may be able to complete the business, but all in all, it goes back to the people, because we are in a democratic world, we are in a democratic Uganda, whereby it is people, the citizens, who determined, and necessarily putting or fronting a family member or a relative doesn't qualify you to automatically qualify for the space. By the time people are trusting you and they have entrusted you with the authority to go back to parliament, they have not elected you or chosen you because of your relatives, but at least they have seen some potentials in you, and you have been seeing. Some people, they don't go through, even if you are the daughter or you are the son. When people realize that you don't have the opportunity, you don't have the potentials in you, they don't front you. But at times, some of them always go through because of the sympathy vote. People will be like, no, this one was elected maybe to go and serve for 5 years. He or she hasn't completed it. What can we do? We first give them the opportunity in terms of sympathy vote to go and complete the year.
What I want to understand is, do these people deliver the expectations, in your own opinion? Because this is not the first time we are seeing this case. Have they delivered to the best of their abilities? Because most cases, these are just people who are saying maybe some of them could not actually be having interest in these positions, but families now force them. And where does this put the country at? Because if this is the same trend, we have seen it happening in the LC5 elections, we have seen it happening in the members of parliament election, what if it goes on and maybe also goes on? If this is the trend and if it really continues to go the way it is, where will this put the politics of this country?
It is okay, Farish, if I may say now, right now we are in 2024 and you have started the year 1 month done. So general election is in 2026. You as a person, as a new candidate who is coming, are you able to do something within these few years? Because it may also be risky for someone who is coming new to do something within the remaining few years, because people will be expecting from you to at least deliver something from them. And you have seen most people who go through, that is during the by-elections, they are not re-elected. It is very rare occasions that you may see someone who went through, that is from by elections to proceed. Why? Because now you have a limited time to do something to the community. And at times, when people give a sympathy vote to a relative, they want you just to complete the remaining term, and then they say what to do for the next person. And as you have asked, where does the future lies? The future lies in the hands of the voters, because they know if they give you the opportunity, you will either deliver or you don't deliver. And if you don't deliver, what do they do? They leave you out. It doesn't qualify, as I've said, it doesn't qualify automatically. But still, the future of the politics is clear, because it is the people who are electing. It is not an appointment made by maybe someone, but it is an people electing you. So we still have a bright future. It is upon the people. By the time they will realize that maybe giving the opportunity for the relatives is not a good idea, that's when you'll see them shifting into doing other things. But right now, let them do it. And I know that daughter may go through, considering the legacy that is the late Cecilia Atimogwa left behind. She served for many years. And if she was doing good, trust me, the daughter will go through. And most of these things, it depends on the legacy of the person you're trying to replace. If he or she was a good person, she had a good maybe record behind. Trust me, whether you're a good person or not, people will give you the opportunity. It's a good one. Then maybe after the two years, they'll say what to do. They either show you or they leave you. It's a good one.
Okay. The family is fronting the daughter, named as, that is Rosemary Alwatch Ogwal, who is actually the daughter, that is the fallen member of parliament, that is Honorable the late Cecilia Ogwal. And so many people have also shown interest in this position. And as I must say, some of the names that are showing interest in this race include, that is Miss Sarah Aguti Nyankori of Uganda Post Congress, and Miss Janet Rose Adong Elau of the National Resistance Movement, who all contested against Ogwal in the 2021 general election. And others eyeing the same seat include Dr. Anna Grace Lalam, Miss Beatrice Molly Abang, the Dokolo District NRM chairperson, and Miss Lillian Auma Okulu, among others. That means that so many people are showing interest in this position, and really we do not know maybe how the voters will decide, because the whole sole representative will be able to be decided by the voters, because through the ballot, that is when they will be able to decide on who exactly is to replace them. But I must tell you, the politics of people voting them, relatives and really fronting family members, is something that is really growing up, because we have seen it in so many by-elections taking place in this country, ranging right from, that is LC5 positions, where we did see the Hoima LC5 by-election actually being replaced by the Sun. And really, we also did see quite many others. Even the son of the speaker, the late Jacob Olanya, actually, he was actually also replaced by his son, who is in parliament, and so many others. This is not the first incident where we are really seeing this happening, but really, I must say, I don't know where that one is putting the politics of this country at, but really...
maybe for most times, I don't see those predecessors doing what is expected of them, because it will come as a shocker.
It comes with pressure, I must say.
It comes as a shocker. Maybe me, as a member of parliament, I came up with my plans. I drew up my plans very well. I'll do this, and that. Do you think I will be, that is, telling my child, my son, or my daughter, my plans? Automatically, I won't tell. I won't discuss it.
They do not actually also do what they expected of. I have a member of parliament whose name I will not mention, who was actually who replaced the mother. This is a female legislator who replaced the mother, but I must tell you, she wasn't able to deliver, and this thing annoyed the voters, and they could not actually vote for her, because they say,
as you have said, number one, it is the pressure
that comes with
that you have to deliver. Number two, were you prepared for that thing? You are not prepared. For you, in your old world, at times you find even you had no interest of becoming a politician, but people are pressurizing you. You go and replace this and that. So that's why you see the service delivery not being delivered to the expectation. So as a community, what does it mean? We shouldn't give, that is, a vote anyhow. We shouldn't elect someone because he or she is a relative, but let's do what is expected of us. And maybe I'm one person who is against, that is, going for by-elections, because if you look at the time frame, it is just some few years. So what can you do with that time? And if you are not careful, it may ruin your future for the rest. So I will urge people who are trying to go for by-elections, unless you are careful and you know your target line, you go for by-elections. But if you have a long term, you don't risk going for by-elections, but also let the community learn how to do the right thing at the right time. Let's not give votes anyhow, because very soon also you'll be the same people turning against the person, complaining of service delivery. Why? You have elected the wrong person, and who was not even mentored.
Now families should also start fronting maybe the best of them all.
For the families, for them, they will front
the best one.
The best one they feel like can do it. But you know, that person mentally may not be ready to go and take leadership. You know, leadership, always they said, it is a skills and it is a talent from God. If you don't have the leadership skills, I remember in the village, people used to make fun that you want to contest as a member of parliament. Have you ever been an MC on a barrio?
That is.
And the answer you may find you said no, so let's leave that.
Masindi sugarcane farmers have declared now they are going to stop supplying sugarcane to, that is Kinyara Sugar Factory, and the sugarcane farmers in Masindi district under their umbrella body, Masindi Sugarcane Outgrowers Association, have decided to suspend the supply of sugarcane to Kinyara Sugar Company Limited until further notice, and this comes after really the drop in sugar prices. And if you really look at how much prices have dropped, and you can really see the supply of 180, the prices have dropped, that is from 180,000 to 160,000 with effect from January, and this really, I don't know why it is coming. And during a meeting that is held at Kabango Church of Uganda over the weekend, the sugarcane farmers in a unanimous decision resolved to hold supply of sugarcane to the company until the price is increased, or they sell their produce to other factories in the neighboring districts. I don't know where that one really puts at, because sugarcane prices, I must say, is something that where farmers are complaining. Even in Busoga, we have seen the same case in Busoga, where the farmers are also complaining about sugar prices. And yet the prices of sugar, how they are buying it from them, has kept on going down, and yet the final consumer who is actually buying sugarcane, the prices have remained the same. Where does this really put now, where will this put the prices of sugar to the final consumer? And then, because if they cut supply, then definitely, if they cut supply of the raw materials, then definitely what also comes out from the factories may very much reduce, and then that will, I believe, also have an impact on the economy in terms of the final consumer. How will this really impact on, that is, the sugarcane prices, and then the final produce maybe?
Thank you, Farish. In Uganda, we know of two companies when we were growing up. We know Kakira and Kinyara. So even people at times forgot about the other one. They will tell you this sugarcane is from Kinyara, minus even knowing that there are other producers who always deal in the same business, and that will be a major setback, that is, to the country, Uganda. We know people now, most people can't survive without sugar, and as I've said, the prices down have remained at the same level, and now if they're going to maybe purchase, that is the raw material sugarcane at a very low level, at times may find those suppliers they have done enough research, feeling that down, that is the price of final sugar, is high, but those people are trying to buy or purchase sugarcane at a low level, and that may be a sign of protest, showing to those people that they need to increase on the sales, that is on the price of sugarcane, and that's one thing which is also affecting them. But as I've seen, it has come at a wrong time.
It is 200,000 per, they want the prices to increase, that is to up to 200,000 per ton. And then the ones of Busoga, where we are seeing in Busoga also, the prices have dropped, that is by 65,000. That is really, which I believe is quite huge, because some of the farmers sometimes also really invest. If you have been able to move to where these sugarcanes are grown, then you will find out that these people do nothing other than just growing the sugarcane and concentrating on it. Because one time I was able to move to Busoga, I was able to really move the ends of Busoga. You will see at least very big lorries. Lorries are very many, and that shows that these lorries are used for ferrying these sugarcanes. And now some of the lorries have actually been grounded because the poor who were able to actually engage in this activity are now not benefiting from it very much. And really, that region actually is one, despite this economic activity. Most of them have remained poor. Busoga is one of the regions that is still stringing in poverty, despite all these enormous opportunities that it has. I don't know where this really puts the country at in terms of sugarcane, because we are seeing those ends of Busoga where sugarcane is produced from. There are complaints. When it moves to this side of Western, where people are also growing sugarcane, there are also complaints. I don't know where this one will actually put the country at, because the final consumer, you need to be worried of this, because anything other than that, if the supply is not there, then definitely we shall be able to see the price in sugarcane once again. Because one time, if you remember how much the price of sugar did rise in this country, and that was really something that was very, very much bad until the president had to intervene. And this is where prices had to be also dropped. I don't know, are we expecting the same anytime soon, in your opinion, if this is not addressed?
Yeah, we are expecting that. It's a big possibility. We saw last time when, that is, the plantation caught fire, when it was burnt. What happened? The price had to go up, because now the supply was low. And this is the same thing which is probably going to happen if the farmers are to stick to their point of not supplying sugarcane to, that is, the biggest supply in the country. Automatically, meaning the demand will be higher than the supply, and we all know the rules as far as business is concerned. The higher the demand, the higher the price. And now if the demand exceed the supply, automatically it will force them to also increase on the price. But also, what does it mean to them? The only thing is they have to sit down, they have to dialogue. We may be blaming them that they are setting down a low prices, yet there are some things which are happening not right at the company. So they're trying to balance up their books. People are yet complaining about that is the COVID impact. They may be down with their budget. So all in all, let them look for ways of, that is, engaging the farmers to explain to them what is happening with them. Why are they purchasing them at a low price? Because for them, they may not be in position to reduce the prices here. That's where they are getting, that is the benefits from.
If you have to be able to interact with some of these farmers, they actually say they use loans to do these things, and now they're operating on losses because somebody comes into this business and it tries to invest in it, because they invest a lot of monies, ranging from clearing the land and then also ensuring that it is properly maintained until the final stage, and then there's a price. Because usually, you know, last week we did talk about cotton growers, the cash crop growers, and they actually raised the same challenges in terms of prices. And they said when these people are coming to buy them and tell them that you plant, because when these factories are emerging, one advantage that they usually give the community is that you are going to earn from the factory, and one advantage you are going to be the suppliers of the raw materials. And then when such scenarios start emerging, I think people are going to move away from that is planting sugarcane, and then they will be able to also engage in other food production, maybe in planting other food crops that would actually generate for them money. And then where I don't know where that one will put the country at, because once we do not have sugar, because honey will be used as an alternative of sugar, but then honey in this region is still very much produced at a low scale. And by the way, West Nile, I must tell you, is one of the regions that is producing good quality honey. And then if you move to some of these places, if you are more so in central Uganda and really tell them the honey that you have is from northern Uganda, it is from West Nile, then definitely the demand will be different. And really, could we use alternatively honey, but really, and what could we do to see to it that we improve on? That is the use of honey among the people, because really the bees are there, but really tapping them is still a challenge. And the beehives, I don't know how often you see them, and with the developments in place, I don't know where this will really mean. I think very soon we are going to be desisting and moving away from taking sugary things, and then maybe we shall be able to start taking salt instead of sugar.
I like the point you brought. Dealing in commercial agriculture, you have to invest. That's the fact. And you shouldn't expect much profit from your agriculture. You have given a simple example. At least also I managed to get access to the cotton farmers that is investing in cotton. The first thing you will need, that is a lot of money in clearing the land. Number two, most times those are not your land, and at times they're always rented. And if you are not to invest in any business or any commercial business, don't expect anything. But business, all in all, it is a matter of profit and loss. If it hits you on the negative side, how do you get yourself up? We're leaving that. We get back to the sugar cane and the sugar saga. You're talking about shifting from sugar cane or from taking sugar to honey. You have given a simple example. You move around West Nile. How many beehives do we have? And what are the quality of the honey that you are producing? That is another era. And closing up or reducing on the level of sugar in Uganda, we have our neighbors who can easily tap into these opportunities. They're waiting. We saw last time, we gave an example, when the prices hit high, what happened? The sugar, which are from Congo, the sugars, which are from Sudan, from Kenya. And this when we are going to see that is a lot of illegal businesses coming to happen. We're talking about the smuggling. Stopping, that is, or reducing the level of sugar in Uganda, this thing cannot easily happen. And we saw people have opportunities, people can tap into those things. Even the locals themselves, they'll be like, if the things are not coming, what should we do? We have to cross to our neighbors and we import illegally. So that's why we are going to see another negative impact to the country, Uganda, and that's where they're going also to lose revenue. Because if you look at some of these companies, they're paying some good amount of money to the country, Uganda. And also it calls for government interventions to come through and solve these issues amicably before it goes out of hands. Otherwise, you may see people getting into these kind of businesses, which may not be all that fine, but accessing honey. But if we are here in Arua city, we have a lot of places where they sell honey. And we find...
Where does the honey come from? Because usually...
And that's one question. And
this honey coming from the neighboring DRC.
Yeah, they're coming from DRC. Why? Because in Uganda, people have tendency of bush burning. I have these experiences where I come from, Neb district. We have people who at least tried to invest in the honey business, in putting beehives, setting them up. But every year, after every dry season, you find they are counting losses. Why? Because people are still burning bushes. And that is one thing which is also letting us down. And if maybe we are to get honey from DRC Congo, not all people can manage honey. You know, in real sense, honey is more expensive.
Honey is medicine.
It is more expensive. It is medicine, but also it is more expensive
than sugar.
If you compare to sugar. If you go for a kilo of sugar, even if it is 4,000 and you try purchasing it, you keep it aside. You go to the honey point, you also purchase 4,000. Can 4,000 even serve a whole family? Automatically, no. And that is one thing which is affecting us. And also, maybe the quality matters a lot. Quality of the honeys, how it is handled, all these things will need time. But all in all, let them solve their issues so that things mash out very well.
And yes, this is where government needs to come up in place and really ensure that this issue is resolved amicably. And maybe one way government could actually really resolve this issue is by drawing a standard price from which the factory owners could buy this sugarcane from the outgrowers, because they are the ones that supply the sugar factory with all this. I've been able to buy there. I was able to move to Kinyara. That was in 2010. I did tour those areas, and you could really see how often the trucks could enter with the sugar cane. And the canes really we are being packed, and really you see so many processes through which the sugar cane, the canes go through. And it was something nice. I must say, if the farmers really continued supplying the factory with the sugar cane, that would also really be something very good, because we are supplying so many people with this sugar cane. If this sugar the factories are producing is not only consumed locally within Uganda here, part of which is also exported out, and this is generating a lot of money for the government. And then now this is where government needs to come up in place and ensure that there's a standard price in terms of buying this sugar cane from the outgrowers, and that definitely will also not improve, and that definitely will also really help improve the livelihood of the farmers, because that will also really help in attract so many people to come and invest in the business, because this is a business that has a red market, and with the existence of the farm of the factory in place, then definitely that is an advantage to the people of that area, because it is employing a number of people, and people are now relying on funds from that. And really with that, dear viewer, we are going to be running for a short commercial break, and when we return back, we still have lots more to be discussing with you here and there. But for now, let's take in a short commercial break. Thank you. All right, welcome back from that short commercial break. This is still the Kokoliriko live show on West Nile TV. The first one, of course, that usually brings and starts off your day, and that is why you must always watch the show, because it is always an important thing for you to start off your day as an informed person, and definitely this is the show that is there to do that for you. So I think it is very, very much important for you to always be watching the show so that you remain informed of what is happening in and around the world. And today, my name is Farish Majid, and I'm with Piso Chaki, and we are still continuing with the discussions here and there, where we did discuss so many things, ranging from a pupil who took his life. We also talk about the sugar prices where factories, and now we also did talk something small about, that is the family of the late Honorable Silo Gwal fronting the daughter for this by-election to replace her. That is where we also did talk a lot. So I think it is very, very much important. We are still continuing with lots more of the updates. And I must tell you, on a sad one here, police and the residents of Erusi sub-county in Nebi district have launched a joint operation to search for the body of a 30-year-old man identified as, that is, Dennis Onim, who drowned in a nearly constructed dam on 30th of January 2024 at about 6 p.m. The deceased, while swimming in a newly constructed dam by Northern Uganda Rehabilitation Initiative, abbreviated as NURI, situated in Jupanzuba village, 1 kilometer away from the Erusi police, left his home and went into undressed and to swim in this water here. And really, that is where he did meet his death from. And I must tell you, why must people really go and swim in dams? Because me, I have natural phobia for water. I really must tell you, even if it is swimming pool, I don't go into it. I fear water. But somebody gets the courage of really going to swim in a dam. Really, that is something I must say is quite scary. It's quite that really makes me really think otherwise, because really, what was the reason for people really to go and swim in a dam? And now the 38-year-old man drowned in that newly constructed dam, and the body is still missing. And I must say right now, police and other people are still looking for the body. I don't know when they will find it, and where they will also find it is something that we still do not know. But really, it's a quite sad story where we are seeing that person really losing his life in terms of swimming the dam. Don't you fear going to swim in water? Because me personally, I don't go, even I fear water in the swimming pool.
It's a very sad one, but you know, we guys who grew up from village, it's a pleasure, my friend. It's fun.
Swimming in a dam?
To go and swim. At least dam is better. Imagine going to a river, a flowing river, deep flowing river, which is even
the difference between the dam and the river, because
listen,
they too also still flowing.
Listen, that dam is a man-made dam. It is not something which is just flowing anyhow. But if you look at river, you find yourself going to swim in a river which is full of stones. You even don't know what's inside there. There's snakes. People in the villages just the treasure that is swimming. And if you are staying in a village and you don't know how to swim, they don't count you as a village boy. They don't count you as someone who is having the experience. But all in all, it is a very sad one, if I may say. That is my neighboring village. It is called Jupazuba. And imagine a 38 years old being that is drawn in a river or in a dam. But by the way, some people have come to testify and realize Africans, if you want to kill an African, you put it in a writing that don't cross this border. And that's where the person will cross, because it is indicated that it is a deep zone, both in English and in Alur, that don't risk going inside it. But still, the man went through and jumped, started swimming, and according to the eyewitnesses, they said, they were saying him, even at first they stopped him that don't go to the other extreme end, because that it is not the first time whereby we are seeing people going to swim in it. There's some point which is a bit shallow, and people always go and bathe, they swim, though it is not, it is even illegal. But people swim in that point, and according to the eyewitnesses, they say they stopped him. But afterwards, the man proceeded to the other deep zone, and that's where he disappeared. And by the time they were waiting for him maybe to come back after some minutes, it was already late. They went with sticks maybe to try checking the water. He was nowhere to be seen. So that is a very sad one, and we always advise people, when there is something with the label, you first read and understand. If you don't know how to read, you get someone to read it for you clearly. And we always say advice are always good. And why should you go and risk yourself? You find those things that are even fenced. The people are being stopped from accessing it. What is the purpose of the dam? It is not for swimming, it is not for maybe bathing, but as I've said, it was constructed by an NGO to promote their own activities. How are we going to make good use of these things? And people don't want to learn. Don't be surprised or shocked next time to see also another person dying in the same dam because they don't have ears to listen to. But also, how are we people protecting those kind of things? It is a sad one. The only advice is, let's not turn those things into a death zone. And it is not the first time. Things, we also call it suicide.
But that is where maybe it could be suicide, because for one person really to do that and go on and swim in an area where we think he or she could not go into, and then you see the person really going into that area, to me it is quite shocking. Because if you really know water, if you have really ever drowned in water, please, I must tell you why I don't go into water is I have a very bad experience of where friends pushed me into water, and this was at Rivenya out here in Arua City. And I must tell you, they pushed me with my clothes, and I was fasting, but the way I drank water, how that experience, I must tell you, it is one that I will never actually forget. Until date, I've never gone into any waters. I drowned, and they left me to first drown, and I started going, and the water started taking me. That is when they jumped in and to rescue me, which was really a bad experience of playing. And I must tell you, with those colleagues up to now, in an area where there's water, we do not really go together. And if they tell me they're swimming, I just tell them to walk on, because I really saw death with my own eyes, and really dying from water is something that I must tell you is very, very painful, and really one that is also very much saddening. And really, but one reason why people must be going to these areas, I believe, could be suicide, really. Because right now, people are going through a lot, and somebody, you want the person, you want the person not for the first time, and the person actually knows where he or she is going. Death can actually meet him from there, because they have so many things in these waters here. This dam has machines. This dam has other bad things that could be in this water here. But really, somebody crosses behind and goes to an area where these things are happening, then definitely it becomes quite shocking. Maybe he or she wanted to take his life. Because really when we moved to Murchison Falls some time back, there was a story of somebody who actually committed suicide and just threw himself there because at first he did not believe in God. But when he came to that area, there is that story which these tourists, once you move there, they will always tell you of how he committed suicide. And he came with a family, but he had not believed in God. And when he moved from wherever he came from to this area and was able to see how God's natural beauty is, it was enough for him maybe to start.
But do you know that man also, as I've said, there may be other reasons behind, though the locals are saying he didn't have any mental issues experienced yet. For him at first he said yes, he's going to bathe. He was feeling hot, he's just going to bathe. But to their dismay, they even wondered how the man decided to proceed up to the extreme end. But also you, with your negative thoughts, at least you better leave that thoughts aside. Or you leave the thinking, because you may be scaring people. Now, you are scaring people.
How?
Now, where will you get fish from, Farif? If you're saying what is dangerous,
let the fishermen do their work.
But also that
you're not a fisherman.
Yeah, no, who knows? Tomorrow I may also have the plan of, that is, investing in fish business, and I'll be the one to go physically. But the way you are trying to scare us, it may not be a good one.
My experience is a bad one. I must tell you.
No, accidents, they always don't have formula. Like yours, it was a real accident.
It was not an accident. I was pushed by friends.
That's accident. Do you know at times some accidents can be caused intentionally? So they wanted to give you experience of how it feels to be in water. And by the way, that was supposed to be your starting point of getting used to water. And I also had that same stereotypes. Well, like when people are crossing a lake using a canoe or a boat or even a ship, I will ask you people, how do you manage crossing these things? But there was a day I toured. I found it is very exciting. The people are saying crossing with that is using water transport is risky. It's all about, at times, how careful you are about your life. So we are calling upon people, if you are going to maybe use some of these things, do you take cautions? Do you always consider your life as being number one? If maybe he was feeling hot and he had intentions of bathing, why can't you just stop at the shore? Then you bathe, simple. Other than going to that extreme of reaching up to the deep zone.
People want to show that they know much. Because if you move these areas, I was in River Nile some time back, where I was able to see these young children really swimming in that water. And for us, you know, as visitors, we are told about so many negative stories to scare us, and really we could not actually enter into the water. And we are able to see how people swim. And some of these people actually want to just show off that they know how to swim better than the rest. And they go deeper into the water and carry something from there, which was really something that scared me a lot. Somebody goes deep down under the water and picks something from the either soil or what, and comes
to prove that he or she went deep down.
He or she went down there, which is really something I must say is quite scary, because water is something that is very dangerous, because the water levels may change at any time, and that definitely may be out of your control. So I think it is always very much important for people to always be vigilant once on these roads. Even if you're going to swim, you must ensure that you are very cautious of your life and of the people around you, because if you move to swim as groups, this is where I want us to encourage people not to move into these water bodies alone, because that one died maybe from dam, but you are moving to a place where there may be crocodiles or else other big fish that may actually want to attack you. So I think it is very much good for people to always move to these water bodies in groups, and we should always listen to one another. If somebody tells you that you should not really cross certain areas, because they are usually labeled, because where we are seeing where that dam is, according to information we are seeing, there is a writing that you do not cross, both in English and in Alur, because, but people still really do not also listen and really have to ensure that they cross these water bodies. Then definitely maybe...
Before you summarize it up, it is not only that is with the water, we have seen even people playing on the roads. It is the same thing. We have writings that if you are to cross, you cross from this side. On the roads they are the same. Once someone is playing in the water, it is the same like someone is playing on the road, on a busy road, whereby you know anytime you can be knocked off. But the thing is, how do we take good use of those write-ups? Do we really follow instructions? Automatically the answer is no. And you, as being a 38-year-old man, you are a mature person. What example are you giving to the locals, I mean to the children who are coming behind you? Also, you are trying to show them that these writings are of no use. So, all in all, let's learn how to take good care of ourselves. Your lives matters. It is you who takes care of your lives. I always like quoting this thing. There's a friend of mine like saying, life is yours, but burial is ours. So for you, you can go and mess up with your life. We may decide to stop you, but you refuse. Then after you dying, what can you do? We take over the burial. Burial become ours, of which it becomes, that is an expense also to the family. A 38-year-old man, you find he's having families, and he's having those young children, the kids who are yet growing up, and they're mostly depending on him. How do you expect those children to grow up? And you did it purposely to live or to escape away from this earth. All the negative impacts will get back on your family. And that's why you see quarrels and misunderstandings will start coming in. So all in all, let's act maturely so that we don't give a negative impact or results on people who are depending on us, especially some of us who are grown-ups now. We should learn how to do some of these things in a mature way so that things can move on.
Yes, that definitely will summarize that discussion in terms of waters and swimming here and there, maybe in terms of also not people not abiding by the laws in place. And I know he has really explained it elaborately, and he has been able to also tell us why maybe of an image of what is transpiring way back that side, because where that incident happened is actually a neighborhood to his village. So I think just like that, we do not also really have to ensure that these things happen, because in areas where there are water bodies, we have seen such cases going on, such issues of deaths being registered here and there, and I must tell you, so many deaths are being registered over the years in several places, and that definitely is an indication that these things are going on. And really with that, we are putting that discussion on hold, and now moving on to tourism. Remember, Uganda is getting a lot of money when it comes to tourism, and now Kidepo National Valley is on the verge of reviving its lost glory, because that place really used to be one of those areas that was very much treasured. And now, if you are really to look at it, and now with the bringing back of, that is the white rhino species, and just like Kidepo, Madiokolo through Ajai Game Reserve is actually striving the same to ensure that these animals are brought back. The white rhinos, this rhino species, are now in a bid to bring back the lost glory of Kidepo National Valley, which is what was known in the late 60s as the home for the big wild animals. The management, with support from development partners, have set a launch that is to bring at least 10 rhinos, that is to the place, and that is really something I must say is quite good, because if you look at Kidepo Valley National Park, this is one of the areas, the tourism destinations that we could actually move to and ensure that we see these animals that we have never seen, because wild animals, these are animals that we believe are supposed to be in the bush, and they cannot be able to be found anywhere except in the zoos or maybe in those other tourism centers, which one of the investors was actually proposing to establish here in Arua, and that is actually part of this ecotourism plan, to have this zoo that is in place where people could actually move and see these animals. If I talk about the white rhinos, what do you know about them? Because in West Nile, we do have history about these animals, and that is why there was a hotel in Arua City named White Rhino, and this was definitely our hotel that was actually named about these animals, that was at Ajai, and this hotel is still up now and has never developed. I don't know why, I don't know what is halting the development of that place, and really we would want to see that place also really being revived, because these people of Kidepo are talking about reviving the lost glory of that national valley. Why don't we also think about reviving the lost glory of this hotel that is still up in place, or just opposite the golf course, and has never remained the name, but the name still continues? Because if you really talk about with the elders, if you have to really interact with the elders of how life used to be, just ask them. If you want them to tell you the stories about how this hotel used to boom, just ask them, how was life in your time? And if you're to compare it with life today, then you will listen to the stories of what I'm talking about. And then definitely you will be able to know of how prestigious maybe this hotel was. And if it is revamped, then definitely that would also really generate a lot of money. Because it is staying there redundant. And to me, it is not quite good, because it is one of the areas that is strategically located. And if it was developed, then definitely that would also really improve on monies, because the hotels generate a lot of money, because we are on the verge of development. So many things are now coming in, because if you really interact with these big events, recently we did have the Fali Pupa concert taking place here. This event attracted a lot of people from outside West Nile, where we did have people coming all the way from DRC, we had others coming from South Sudan, and all these people needed accommodation, and definitely hotels is the way to really accommodate this area. But now back to the point of this valley, and this valley was, this national park was actually named after one of the Karamojong elders, just like Ajay. Ajay was also named after one of these elders. But now these are all struggling and striving to ensure that they resume and really revive the glory that they once had. What does this mean really? What will it mean to the tourism destination of this area? Because this is in Karamoja, and we are talking about also Ajay, because we need to ensure that tourism is something that is developed.
Thank you very much, Farish. Here we are talking about tourist attraction, and what is that thing which attracts people? We are talking about the glorious days of West Nile and even the Kidepos. When we are, okay, you yourself, when you're still a young boy, you used to listen to, they'll tell you, they'll tell you there's white rhino, there are elephants, there are these hippopotamus and lions. They used to be within, but if you ask yourself, where are they right now? They're nowhere to be seen. And that's why you are seeing these tourists are not coming, because they have nothing to go and tour about. And we know generally, Uganda is called a Pearl of Africa. Why? Because it used to have those fishers or the creatures that always ranges from birds up to animals, right from the smallest species up to the biggest species we have seen. And for Kidepo, it had those white rhinos, it had the lions, it had the elephants, and even giraffes. Those things used to be there, but right now they're not there. That's why you are seeing these tourists are not coming. The same thing happening with Ajay right now. How many white rhinos are there in Ajay? They may not even be there. And that's come to your point of...
The white rhinos right now are not in Ajay. They were actually, according to the elders that side, they were moved to, that is some place in, that is Ziwa. Yes, so, they were moved to Ziwa. So now the elders are striving to ensure that they bring back these white rhinos. And now efforts are underway actually in terms of compensating the areas, because now, according to information we're getting, some of the areas have actually reduced, and now they have to be expanded. So there are community engagements to see to that the community also gives in land. And now the areas also, they have said, may not be favorable for the giraffe species.
So the question is, why were they transferred from Ajay to
remember, if I'm to be able to talk about this, if you remember the history about this region, West Nile sub-region, the insurgencies where we had wars, this actually forced these animals to be moved, because people were now hungry and they started eating on these animals. And to protect the species, they had to be really moved from here to another place. But now the elders are striving and ensuring that they bring back these animals, because if they are brought back, definitely that would be able to also improve on the tourism of this area, because it's also going to come with a lot of monies. Because really, if you look at Ajay, right now the animal species there we have are very few. We have monkeys, we have the other animals, antelopes, quite many. We have monkeys, we have other bird species which are all there. So bring back the white rhinos, because this is one destination that was actually known, and this place actually housed that was a number of white rhinos, but because of its insurgencies, they had to move to be protected. That is where they are up to now, and now the leaders are striving to bring them back.
Farish, my concern, getting back to the point, is how do those people relate to the community? What's the relationship between the community members and the Wildlife Authority, that is Uganda Wildlife Authority? Because at most times I've been seeing people crying fall against that is the authority, that they are not taking good care of the wild animals. Simple example, right that side of, there's a place called Palango, those sides of Pakwash, whereby people always complain, and it's being witnessed, whereby you find a wild animal coming to attack, attack people in the village. So it all comes up. You people, you are bringing these things closer to the people. How are you going to?
You know, that is why these relevant authorities need to ensure that where these animals are kept are fenced. I've seen efforts by government also to fence some of these areas where these national parks are, so that these animals do not move. And we have seen electric fences being erected in some of these places, and all that is to protect these people from having the human-wildlife conflicts, because people have had conflicts between these with these animals over time, where we have also seen these animals destroying people's crops, which have all not been well, and we have seen also these animals at times killing the humans. So that human-wildlife conflict has always been there, and that is why efforts have always been there to ensure that such cases are minimized. And now to bring back the issues of bring back the animals, I don't know what you think about.
No, that's where I was coming with my point. they're planning to bring back the animals, but what is that relationship between the authority and the people or the residents who are living next to the area? Those guys of the Kidepo, they have come up with a plan of reviving or bringing back the white rhinos or the white rhinos, but already the community are raising complaints that you people, you have failed, that is to give a limit to your animals into crossing to our land, and most times you find it is the authority trying to blame the people, the locals, that they're killing the animals, but most of them will tell you, we are doing this as a defensive mechanism. We are trying to protect ourselves. So you cannot say, since the animals are now being source of tourist attraction, you can allow them to come and attack us in our village. People also treasure and they feel like their lives are more important than the wild animals. That's why if you get time to interact with people, they'll tell you, it seems now they have considered the wild animals more important than human beings, because you're not killing animal. Most times the animals are not killed from the game parks. They are killed within the community. So how can you chase away a white rhino which has invaded a community? And most times people have been reporting to the authorities, but they take a lot of time to go and respond to people's that is cries. And that's one thing. If they are to revive or to bring back the white rhinos, they first have to talk to people. They first have to level their grounds. If it means maybe relocating people so that the disagreement can be settled, it is okay. But if they're bringing those things next to the people or to the community parish, I still believe that initiative may not sustain its goal, and the tourism sector will still continue to not to progress well in the country. So all they have to do, people also, they need their lives. They are doing, that is agriculture. They're also investing in their own things. But also the other side, it's important. The simple thing is, or the most important thing is, how can we balance all the two? How can we balance the wild animals and human beings? That is the thing. If this thing is to progress, let them find a way of, that is,
you see, talking about all these tourism destinations, all these tourism facilities, in one way they have been able to give back to the community, because they, in most cases, talk about that is working together with the community in terms of the corporate social responsibility. Because sometimes they also tell the community members that we bring this with opportunities, where if you do this, you'll be able to benefit from it. And we have seen schools being put up in these areas. We have seen medical facilities. We have seen health facilities. We have seen the roads being upgraded. And all these are for the betterment of the community. But what is just remaining is the human-wildlife conflict that has always been there.
That's the thing.
And then definitely that is maybe one reason that could actually be anger in the community. But in terms of giving up by the community, because they said it's a percentage of the money that they get in terms of this foreign exchange, part of which is supposed to go to the community under the corporate social responsibility. So I think there's need for the people to first sensitize the locals about these animals, because that may be the challenge. And just like Kidepo, striving to boost back the tourism sector again. I did talk about, that is the Ajay Game Reserve, that is in Madokoro district, that is also really struggling to ensure that the same happens. And that is where we have seen efforts by the leaders, efforts by the community members to have several engagements here and there. And last year I was actually part of one. I was able to move to, that is Madokoro district, and I really have an understanding of what was there. And really you could see UA together with the other leaders are now working together to ensure that the community members are compensated. And now efforts to start compensating the community members have started. And where also what was really bringing challenge is the issue of land, because land usually comes with a lot of challenges, because some of these people actually gave land to their people, to others, and then when the benefits also came in, the owners of the real owners now are coming back to also really wanting to evict the people who are there, and they want to claim ownership of the land, which is really something I must say is not well. So I think government needs to step in and really ensure that these issues are addressed, because tourism is one of the sectors, I must say, is generating a lot of money for us as a country. Because if we do not really depend on tourism, we are depending on other sectors where money may not be enough, because annually we have a lot of tourists that come in, and they come in with a lot of monies which they pay to us, and really people benefit from it, because people have to benefit in terms of the hotels, in terms of the goods that they sell. Because if you look at Ajay, they are going to be a cultural center that is supposed to be there, where people's cultures will be able to be displayed in terms of performances, in terms of dressing, in terms of other cultural attires, and this would actually really generate a lot of monies for these places there. So I think it is timely, just like Ajay, if government is also able to develop the other tourism destinations that did fed with this generation, then maybe that would also really improve on the tourism destination, and that would also really ensure that we benefit from the monies that we earn as a country in terms of that is sharing the monies that we generate in terms of tourism. Because if you look at tourism, really, West Nile or Northern Uganda has not benefited very much from tourism because maybe our facilities have not been very much mapped or maybe very much really also advertised. So if you move to Western, because I was able to move to Western, I've moved most parts of Western, and then Western, you will really see that their tourism sector is very much organized, and the places are really very much organized, which is not the same case with us here. Our facilities still need a lot when it comes in terms of organization, and then definitely we may be able to solely benefit from that national credit we are talking about. But dear viewer, for now, really, let's run in for the last commercial break, and when we return back, we still have lots more to discuss with you. My name is Farish Majid, and I'm together with Ochaki Peace, and this is the Kokoliriko live show that comes your ways every Mondays to Fridays, and today is the third edition, and today is the 1st of January. And in case you're just joining us right now, please, you are most welcome, and really do not touch that dial and remain watching West Nile Television. Thank you. All right, welcome back from that short commercial break, and we are still continuing with the Kokoliriko live show on West Nile TV, channel 0073 on Zuku, and also those streaming us online. We very much want to appreciate you for doing that, because this is the show that must start off your day, and this definitely will also start off your day from an informed point of view. And that is why you must always watch the show from 7 a.m. until 9 a.m. And remember at 9, that is when we also pave way for the El as a team to come and let you know of what is happening in the world of news. That is for the Lubara speaking community. And then definitely you will also really understand what is happening in the language that you best understand. And this is for the Lubaras all over. You must always not miss the El as a news team, because they are there ready, determined, and ready to also give you what is happening in the language that you best understand. And for those who also want to learn the language, then definitely that is the platform from 10, that is from 9 to 10, that is when you will be able to solely understand what is happening in the world of Eolaza. So I think it is very much important for you to always really be in the know of what is happening. And yesterday, Peace, I must say, there were people from so many people from so many districts around the Marisa region who gathered to really ensure that they actually launched the MK project. That is this chapter, that is the Madi chapter, where we did see so many of the people really coming in from all the way from Moyo, all the way from Obongi, others coming from, that is Yumbe, to ensure that they actually be part of that launch. And really, what does it mean? Are we seeing politics already in place? Or does that indicate that people are already waiting for 2026? Or is it that 2026 is not coming so fast for people? Because the pressure, I must say, is very much high among people. Politics, really, if you want to see that it is happening, move to where there are gatherings. More so, any funeral where you see politics taking place. Deaths, you are seeing funeral taking place. Weddings, funeral is in place. Even school parties, we are seeing now politics taking place in there, where everybody wants to ensure the visibility is there. Why is it that way? Could it be that 2026 is not coming so fast for people, or 2026 is very far? What is really meaning? What does that imply?
Politics can never end. Campaigns will never end. We all know politics is a process. It goes from one step to another. Even before someone is sworn in after the elections, you find already people campaigning for the next term. Maybe we take for example, if someone is elected as being member of parliament or even LC5, this very month of, that is Feb, but don't be surprised to see that is in the next week, people are campaigning. People will start decampaigning you even before you resuming your office, before starting work. So when you see people gathering anywhere, don't be scared, because we know politics is a pressure game. You don't need to sleep. You always need to tell people, you show them your visibility, that you have the capability of, that is, doing what others were not able to do. So if you are seeing them, it's happening in schools, churches, or anywhere, it is okay, because it is a process. But also, it is you people, it is the gatherings who always give access to these people. Because when you call the politicians for a fundraising drive, what do you expect them to do?
You also expect them to come with the money.
They will give you money, they will talk, but at the end they'll say, for us, we can't live without, that is, talking about politics, because it is in our blood. So that's why we have been saying. But we have always heard them over time saying we're not here for politics. Yeah, what comes out of them is politics. They say they are not there for politics, but at the end they will put a disclaimer that this is not a This is not a campaign but it is something in our adrenaline. It is in our blood. So if a politician, if to give a speech for just 2 seconds, don't be surprised to see him also, that is giving some few highlights about what he did or what he's planning to do. So it's all about you people engaging them. If you call a politician for any gathering, expect him or her at least to put a word. And that's where we saw some religions that they have started restricting some of these politicians to go for their functions or to the gatherings. If you are to come, they just recognize you that we have the presence of Honorable Farish Majid, who is within us. May you stand up for recognition. So you stand up, they just clap for you, but you don't give a speech. But also launching these other things, it shows that people are getting ready. That is for 2026, and it is just some few years or few months to reach the final elections. Though people are not doing it openly, people are not saying, I've started campaigning, that is to contest as this and that. I keep telling you, I also want to contest, but don't ask me where. Because
and when? Because and how?
Because I don't want to be arrested for no reason. Otherwise, someone will say, you see, that's what I've already started campaigning. I'm not campaigning.
You're campaigning.
I'm not campaigning because
you're campaigning already. Because you said you're not here for politics.
Because I don't have a poster, I don't have any agent, I don't have anything. But now, that's a clear sign that 2026 general election is coming, and that's the thorough preparations we need to know. If you have intention of contesting, you start opening up, but launching those campaigns, we pray it will bring back, that is, a good benefits to the community, and let the people from there also take good use of those initiatives, because most of those things, they move with financial support to support the community members. How are we using their support? Are we using them for individual benefits? If that is the case, then it will make no use. But all in all, it's a good one. Let them continue with the move, as long as also it doesn't interfere with the law of the Electoral Commission, because they have not yet, that is, declared these other ones. They have not open ways for people to start campaigning openly. So if you continue, you may either be arrested or what, because you're not following the rules of Electoral Commission.
Okay, putting that discussion in politics aside, well, let's move to health, where we are seeing COVID returning back, as 2 patients from Kabale have succumbed to this disease. But as of 2023, last year, if you remember, which was last year, at least 73% of the people had received their first dosage of, that is, the COVID-19 vaccines. At least they had actually received, and the percentage is actually 73% now. We are seeing the disease slowly recovering and resurfacing once again. What is not happening? Could it be that people have not abided by the SOPs that were put in place? Because really, when COVID-19 was still very much high, the SOPs that we are told, put on mask, really ensure that you really wash your hands with clean water and soap, and other strategies, for instance, maintaining social distance, because really we know what COVID-19 is, because it's not long ago, and the experience, I must say, could still be very fresh, because COVID-19 came in, and really where we did lose some of our relatives, where we did lose a lot of opportunities also. Some people actually lost their businesses when it comes to COVID-19, and now we are seeing this resurfacing. Where is the gap? And maybe what loophole could really be resulting into this disease? Because really 2 patients have now succumbed to, that is from Kabale Hospital, to this disease that we are talking about. And now people have been urged to get vaccinated, and those who did not really have to get, and those who did get one, those who actually did also need to get the booster dosage that is still in place. Even despite you getting the 2 doses, there's still a chance for you to also need to get to get the booster dose. And remember, all these diseases people have had negative stereotypes, and really where this could actually also